Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. Everybody's working for the weekend. Taking care of business every day. Now it's wow, welcome to the working week.
Working 9 to 5, what a way to make a living.
Minimum wage. Yeah!
Okay, you are listening live WCUW, and it's also on tape delayed with
Yes.
friends at the City of Worcester's Cable Services, Cable Channel, to the Working Lunch, the hour devoted to all things workforce development here in Central Massachusetts. I'm your host, Jeff Turgeon from the Central Mass Workforce Investment Board.
And I'm your co-host, Sean McGauley.
Jumped right in there, didn't you? You weren't
I
waiting.
did.
You weren't
Well,
waiting on
sometimes
me.
you introduce me, and then I have nothing to say except hi. It's just
That is a little awkward, right?
so I wanted to throw that out
Yeah.
there. I hope that was all right.
No, that was good. That was
No dead air.
There we go. And we're also joined on air by our producer extraordinaire, Dr. Robert Zakowski, affectionately known as
Bob Z.
Dr. Bob.
And I must have screwed up really bad last month because Bob kicked me out of the producer seat.
There was, he wants to make sure everything's settled and gets in there nicely. Now, sir, this weekend I had a chance to listen to the polka show that you run
Oh
here.
yeah.
Some good
Good.
stuff. I was going to call in and request some Jimmy Stir.
All right.
Yeah,
As a matter of fact, the listeners before heard the Duprees do tune, and they recorded with Jimmy Stir.
Really?
On one of the recordings, yes.
He's recorded
He's
with-
everywhere.
Yeah.
That guy's
I know
everywhere.
Willie
He
Nelson,
has-
right? Willie Nelson.
He's recorded with Willie Nelson and a whole host of other country artists as well.
So we have a big show today. We have a few guests, and we have some other things to talk about. We've got you guys okay over there? We had some folks drop some things in the studio, but they're okay. Safety is always our first. While educating the public and entertainment is kind of our goals here, we also want to make sure we're maintaining a safe environment. Safety is our first. and
The working
foremost.
lunch motto: safety first.
OSHA certified. The working lunch is now OSHA certified. So, that all being said, we do have a couple guests, so we're excited. We're going to bring them in, and Sean, I think you're going to slide
Yep.
over. We have another chair right over there that you could probably take. We have coming in, joining us in studio now. We have Suzanne Domestico. She's a senior program representative at the Green Jobs Academy. That's run by the Southern Middlesex Opportunity Council, as well as Howard Lucas, who's a senior program representative for the Professional Retail Sales and Customer Service training program. So we have a couple program leaders from the South Middlesex Opportunity Council who have some great training programs here in Central Massachusetts that we're going to talk about. Suzanne, why don't we start with you? I see we're getting settled here on the microphone. Tell us about the Green Jobs Academy.
Okay, we actually have been up and running since 2010, August of 2010. We originally received funding through the ARRA funds.
So let's
And-
just the Green Jobs Academy itself. A lot of people
Yes.
hear Green Jobs and not quite sure, what that entails. So this is an academy to help train people for jobs within the green
Whether
job
it's-
sector.
Yes, it's weatherization, actually. And weatherization is retrofitting existing buildings to make them more energy efficient. So,
And of course, here in a
We-
city like Worcester and New
Yeah.
England in general, a lot of older housing stock, a lot of
yes.
three-deckers and whatnot
Yeah.
that probably could use a lot of refurbishing and weatherization to
Absolutely.
make them more energy efficient.
absolutely. We train people. Our focus now is City of Worcester residents and homeless individuals. You don't necessarily have to be walking the street to be homeless. You
Okay.
could be sleeping on somebody's couch. And we actually
Do you turn
have-
away someone that might be interested in training that's, say, low income but not necessarily homeless yet?
No, we try not to turn anyone away.
Okay.
And we actually train girls as well. You wouldn't think that the girls would want to do this, but they are actually very good at it. Their attention to detail is
Yeah.
more so than the guys. But we actually have 12 individuals in a class, and after a 2-week boot camp, we teach them air sealing. There are 2 days in the classroom, which is book learning. We give them another hands-on class, which is drill and blow, and it's probably French, but they put a tube in the side of a home, and they fill wall cavities with insulation.
with
Yes, so
Okay.
it's a lot of fun. The hands-on is a lot of fun. We also give
so the
them
boot camp kind of approach. They're really kind of intensely training. It's not just a couple hours a day. It's intense all
Yes.
day.
Yeah.
For 2 weeks, and
Yeah.
then after that, they hopefully. I know there's a
They-
lot of
they-
contractors out there that do this.
Yes, they receive an opportunity for on-the-job training, which is 30 days after the 2-week
that's
boot
great.
camp. I just want to say one more thing about the boot camp. We actually give them 2 industry-recognized certifications. One is an OSHA 10, that's for safety. It's a 2-day training. And we
We're just
also
talking about OSHA before you came in the
Yes.
studio here. We had a
safety
potential OSHA
is a big
violation in
thing.
progress.
Yes. We could help you with that.
See that? Well, that's
So,
so they
and-
get that industry certified. Is there also something around weatherization that they would get? or
yes, they
something
would
like-
get the 4-day certification for the boot camp. There's a 4-day boot camp, and then we also give them our RP lead renovator certificate, and that's a full day training.
So all that's kind of rolled into the 2-week
Yes, yeah.
program that you have, this Green Jobs Academy program.
Yes.
And that's followed by 30 days of hands-on.
Paid
job.
on-the-job training. So they
sounds-
can make, the OJT is the on-the-job training. They can make between $12 and $14 an hour. And we usually know in the first couple of weeks if the contractor wants to keep them. Then
they get a
after
chance
the
to-
after
yeah,
the 30
they-
days, they usually get, I would say, if they show up on time,
Yeah.
do a good job, don't stand with their hands in their pockets, they can have permanent employment after the 30 days.
Great. Now,
Yeah.
now I know that a lot of the weatherization had become very popular because there were some incentive programs out there, some like tax
Yes,
incentives or
yes,
other kind of
yes. Mass Save
rebates or
actually
whatever.
is what drives the contractor work. And they do offer to homeowners, they would actually have to call for a audit.
Mm-hmm.
And they would come do an initial audit at your home. And then Mass Save offers $2,500 worth of work on your property. The homeowner would pay $500. Mass Save would subsidize the $2,000.
Wow.
So there's quite a bit of work that you can
And
get
of course,
done.
over time, that pays itself back with the energy
Absolutely.
savings that you'll realize from that.
Yes, this is also, it's a ground level training, and we offer advanced trainings as well.
Okay.
So if a
So kind of an entry level.
Yes. So if a student were to go and get employment with one of the partnering contractors, they can be sent back to us after 6 months in the field for crew chief training. They can get an advance in wage. They have advanced trainings that
Sure, move up the
Yes.
ladder there
Yes, so
and
it's-
become a crew chief leader. That sounds
they can become auditors, they could become quality control inspectors. There's quite a bit
Yeah.
that we offer.
and then I'm sure at some point they could even look to start their own business, their own.
Yes, that
contracting
actually a
service,
lot
yeah.
of people, you wouldn't believe, but a lot of them do want to start their own
It
business.
sounds like it'd be
Yeah.
give you a bit of leadership and freedom and
Mm-hmm.
to be your own boss is a pretty exciting thing.
Yeah.
So Howard, let's talk about the program that you're overseeing, the professional retail sales and customer service training program. What's that about?
Okay. We're currently recruiting for our fall class. We have a class starting in November 3rd, actually, in a couple weeks. And the sales training incorporates a bunch of tools that are required to thrive in the sales industry. We're offering a 6-week course, and that course will entail an individual obtaining 2 industry recognized certificates, one in customer service, one in sales through the National Retail Federation.
Which is kind of the main body for retail for the retail industry, and it's pretty widely recognized organization and credentials that they would get for that.
Yes.
So it's a 6-week program.
It's a 6-week program, and that encompasses it encompasses 1 week of bounce training, which is a job readiness
we're going to be
workshop.
talking about that later in the show as well. So
Excellent.
so incorporates that, and of course, communication. I'd imagine in the sales environment and retail environment is very important.
Yes, yes. So after the 1 week of bounce training, there will be 2 weeks of intensive classroom training, and after the 2 weeks classroom training, in terms of technical service, technical.
Yeah, the skills kind of component. Yeah.
Exactly. Then after that, they'll take an exam and they'll get certified. After they successfully pass the exam, then they'll be put into an on-the-jobs training program, which is a 2-week training program.
So
where-
both of your programs have on-the-job training and recognize industry credentials. So they're really walking away with two major things in their pockets. One, those credentials that they can take with them wherever they go. They always have those. And then the second thing is, a real foot in the door and something to put on the resume as far as experience. And possibly, it sounds like, a good chance at obtaining continued employment after the program ends. I mean, that's
Yes,
about as good a shot as you can give anyone, right?
Absolutely, and that's the goal. Really, we're looking to place people in permanent positions. We have several partner employees on board for our professional sales program. Not to plug them, heavily,
you
but
can talk about for say,
yeah,
it
but-
would be good for some potential people out there that want to get involved, and maybe someone they know. To get them involved in the program, it'd be good to know what types of jobs you're talking about.
Yes,
So,
okay. So one of employer partners that has signed on with us is Percy's Appliances and Electronics. They offer a wonderful array of opportunities within their organization for individuals to thrive and grow.
and maybe especially someone that might be interested in electronics or have that kind of background would be a great fit for someone that wants to get into that kind of
Absolutely.
store retail environment. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then another partner employer that has signed on with us is Rotman's Furniture. And,
And of course, they do a lot in the community in general, and giving opportunities to local young people seems to be in line with that kind of approach that they take.
Absolutely, absolutely. So they're very excited to be on board in terms of doing some community outreach and helping and empower low
At the
income.
same time, they're getting a good chance to recruit the next generation. Same thing with the Green Jobs Academy. The contractors are really getting a chance to kind of try before you buy, if you will, or get a chance to kind of groom their next generation of talent. So the big question here, two questions is there a cost involved to either program for participants?
Both programs are free. The age eligibility requirement for my program, not mine, I'm so sorry.
can say it's
I
yours
always
too.
call it mine.
You've
I'm
got
very,
a bit of ownership
I'm very
there, that's
proud
fine.
of the program.
Exactly.
So Green Jobs Academy, you need to be 18 years or older. For the sales,
Training program, it's 17 to 21 years old.
17 to 21 for the
21,
sales,
so-
and then is there an upper age for the green jobs? Can you be 25 or beyond?
18 plus.
18 plus.
We've had people in their 50s and 60s take the training.
Sure, I can. Well,
And-
it's a neat career opportunity.
Yeah.
Or even, do you get people that maybe have some construction background, but but are looking for something different or a new kind of tool within?
We've
there?
actually had a lot of people go through with construction
Yeah.
experience, and they are very valuable to the employer partners where they do more than just the weatherization. They do windows, doors, roofing, all sorts of construction tasks. And that person, we always interview people before they take the training, so we know where to fit them with our employer
So
partners.
the other big question,
yeah.
of course, is how do people get involved? So say you're a parent out there that has a young person that they know, or a neighbor or whatever, or someone listening out there that might want to get involved in the sales, or someone who's 18 plus that wants to get involved in the Green Jobs Academy. How do they get involved?
Well, first, they would need to contact us, of course.
Mm-hmm.
We do run information sessions quite frequently.
Is there a website there they
And
could check out, or
there-
call a number they could call
There,
to
my
see when the next one might be?
yeah, my direct line I'll give you is 508-626-7150. And they can also go to www.smoc.org. It is the SMOC website, South Middlesex Opportunity Council, and they will have to navigate around. But if they go to the left, there's a little button. It says Training and Education. Click on that, and it's pretty.
So once they get to that main website, they can
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
find it from there.
it's
How would the same thing, that same
user-friendly.
website, would they be able to?
Same website, yes. And our classes will be taking place at the Martin Luther King Jr. Empowerment Center down on 237 Chandler Street.
So that's right, in Worcester. And Suzanne,
Yes.
do the classes for the Green Jobs Academy, are they offered? I know they
Yes.
used to be in Framingham, but they also offered here in Worcester as well?
We actually moved the training center to the Martin Luther King building.
great. Okay.
So they can actually drop in as well. They could drop in, speak to the receptionist. If we're there, they usually call us down and we talk to people.
So again, that's the Martin Luther
Yeah.
King Business Empowerment
Yeah.
Center,
Yes.
237 Chandler Street.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
So, we've been speaking with Suzanne Domestico, the Senior Program Representative for the Green Jobs Academy, and Howard Lucas, Senior Program Representative for the Professional Retail Sales and Customer Service Training Programs. Any final thoughts you might want to add or to say to the viewers out there, to the listeners out in our audience?
Final thoughts.
Any final thoughts?
Well, we're just very excited to have these
Yeah.
programs on board. We're looking at other industries, high growth industries, and occupational career paths for individuals that are really looking to empower themselves with career opportunities. And so, we're very excited to
Well,
have.
certainly for someone out there listening, it's a wonderful opportunity for either of these programs, and the if you're looking for something to get into, an opportunity that comes along that's offered at no cost to them is certainly an exciting opportunity. So, well, thanks again for coming in.
Thank you
Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you
I
so
really
much for
appreciate
having
that.
us.
Oh, we do. Before
Oh.
you leave, it is a tradition. It is a tradition to play a little game. We have a wonderful prize if you win. The prize is a mug, a coffee mug donated
Okay.
by Penta Communication. Now, the unfortunate thing is we only have one, so you're going to have to figure out how to share this mug.
Okay, so I'll take it tomorrow, and then the next.
Well,
day
Sean and I
I'll-
were talking. You could do days. You could even, if you want, sip for sip, however you want to do.
Oh, no, we're not really
a
going to
little
share that.
timeshare, huh?
A time-shared mug. You guys can
Okay.
figure this out. If you win, I got to tell you, it's...
Okay, what do we have to
Okay.
do?
So you probably, do you know the actress Jennifer Aniston?
Yes.
Heard of her?
Yeah, she's a pretty famous actress. Okay. So we want to find out what her first job was. Okay, so we're gonna give you a few options, and you
Okay.
tell me what the real one was. So a few options. One, she was a telemarketer. Okay, in her hometown, she was a telemarketer. Two, she served ice cream and burgers at the local Dairy Queen. Or three, she braided hair at a local hair salon. So this is very difficult. If you guys, if you want a moment to powwow together, Oh, all right.
We'll let you go since you're so
She's got-
No, I
enthusiastic
really
about
don't know. It's a big guess, but the hair braiding sounds right down her alley.
Well, unfortunately, there'll be no sipping, no sharing of the mug
it. No
today.
shit. No, no,
We
no.
are-
Tell
we're
us what
so
she did
sorry.
off air.
I'll tell you on air. She was a telemarketer.
Okay.
Yeah, she did. She lasted about 2 weeks, according to our
That's a
exhaustive
hard
research.
job. It really
Wow,
is. Yeah.
wow.
According to a review of her IRS files,
Did you review
we
that?
did a special search. No, we did not. But according to Sean, where did we get that?
I think it was MSN.
Yeah, I didn't have time to Google
MSN.com
it on my
yeah.
phone or anything.
There you go. Exactly.
Maybe we can call her up and offer her some of our sales or customer service training. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe
She'll
she
go
could
back into telemarketing. She would have been
help
more
us.
successful.
You
Help us
never
out.
know.
You never know. Well, thanks again for coming in.
Thank
and I think
you.
Mr. Dr. Bob, we're going to take a little break right now.
Thank you so much.
Hello, this is Bob Zakowski, and I'm inviting you to join me on Saturday and Sunday afternoons for Polka Party from 2 to 4, right here on WCUW Worcester.
Do you think about volunteering but are not sure what to do? Are you at least 55 years young? RSVP Worcester Area Volunteers invites you to hear about new ways to serve throughout Greater Worcester. We know where the needs are. We have a menu of opportunities with personalized placement always. RSVP, your Worcester Area Personal Volunteer Connector. Find us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or just call RSVP at 508-791-7787.
here at the Working Lunch, WCW 91.3, and also simulcast tape delayed on the city's cable channel. So we have another guest with us in studio, Dan Melle. He is the Director of Quality Assurance, and that's for Community Healthlink, which is a part of UMass Memorial Healthcare. Did I get that all right?
Yes.
Close enough?
Close enough. Good.
So, Dan, you oversee a program called Motivating Youth Recovery. Let's see if we can get a shot of it here on camera. Motivating and affectionately known as M.Y.R.
M.Y.R, the M.Y.R program, yes.
The M.Y.R program. So, Motivating Youth Recovery. And a lot of what we do here at the Working Lunch is, as you might imagine, when we're talking about workforce development and job development, is helping make sure that that we have a vibrant workforce, which would encompass young people that are growing into the workplace, and making sure that we have a vibrant and strong transition from teen through young adult to adult into adulthood.
Great.
So part of that obviously includes health, and we've done some work in the past. We've had on Derek Brindisi, who's talked about the community health programs that are and the community health initiatives that the city is helping coordinate with a lot of local partners. And so your program we were chatting, and I thought it might be a good opportunity to come and talk about what your program is and what and how it helps young people.
Great.
So
Great.
tell us a little bit about M.Y.R, the Motivating Youth Recovery
Great.
Program.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to come in and talk about the program. Motivating Youth Recovery, the M.Y.R program, actually today is our 7th anniversary. So this program has been in existence for 7 years. It's a high-intensity substance abuse treatment program for adolescents between the ages of 13 and 17. We can also admit kids that are 18. It's a statewide program, 24 beds. We're located at 26 Queen Street, which is the old City Hospital
yeah.
site. To date, we've probably served over 2,000 kids. So basically,
Wow. In 7 years.
in 7 years. So basically, we provide detoxification and stabilization services for kids that are struggling with substance use. The real
No, I was going to
ahead.
say, when you say intensive, it's an
Inpatient.
in-house or inpatient,
Inpatient.
so they stay
Yes.
there,
Stay there
in a
24
nice,
hours.
secure, stable environment.
And
That's
how long
right.
are the stays generally?
Yep.
Is it by participant, or is there a lot of time that they're there for?
It's based on the clinical need of each individual that we serve, each kid that we serve. The average length of stay is somewhere around 14 days.
Okay.
So
Well,
it-
that's actually surprisingly, I would think it would be longer.
Yeah. Yep.
But about 14 days. How? So what's some of the activities or what's some of the treatment that they would receive while there?
Right. Well, there's a certain percentage of our kids that require medication-assisted detoxification.
Okay.
So those would be
So they come in actively using or?
yes,
or-
actively using, actively addicted, and dependent on mostly opiates. Okay, so probably
So for those less accustomed to or knowledgeable,
yeah.
opiates would include.
Would include prescription pain medicines such as oxycodones, Percocets, would include
Vicodin.
heroin, Vicodin,
Okay.
those sorts of things.
At 13 to 17,
Yeah.
the age range. It's just kind of
Yeah.
shocking. But.
Shocking.
Yeah.
And, we provide services for kids throughout the state of Massachusetts. So we have kids from Pittsfield to Provincetown.
Yeah.
We see kids from communities like Beckett, Mass, that are addicted to opiates, to inner city kids. So
Yeah. Yeah.
across
I
the
guess
state.
you would, I guess intuitively you would, might assume this is like an inner city problem, but
Yes.
it really isn't. I mean, especially in the suburbs with two parents working,
Yep. Yep.
and no shortage probably of drugs available in the medicine cabinet to get
That's right.
started or
That's right.
whatever, right? Is that
Right.
one of the big?
Exactly. So for the kids that are involved with opiates, often the road to the opiates is to obtain a prescription painkiller, pain medication from their own medicine cabinet,
Yeah.
medicine cabinet of a friend, start to experiment with that, and then eventually, become dependent
Yeah.
and use street heroin because the availability of the prescription
I
pain
can't think
medicine.
of a worse slide for a young person.
Terrible slide.
And as a parent or a concerned adult, it must be a horrendous time to watch a young person falling into that. And so having programs like yours is so important. So they come in, they'll get actively kind of cleaned up. And then how do you kind of approach the helping them for the future when they leave?
Yeah. So a big part of what we do, we're pretty much the front end of a treatment system in a way. So a big part of what we do is provide a comprehensive assessment and evaluation of all the kids that are served. And, kids not only come in with difficulties around drugs, but they pretty much all have mental health issues too. So we have to take care of looking at both the substance
If
use
you were
and
looking
mental
at a cause and effect, does the drug use stem from mental health issues, or do the mental health issues stem from the drug use, would you say?
I'd say often many of these kids have had some emotional disturbances or mental health issues prior to the drug use, but that's not always the case.
Yeah.
But once they do get
But just in general, a teen, the developing mind, often has just the turmoil of your body changing.
Absolutely.
And you have all the hormones. And
Yes.
It almost is a recipe for that mental health. Well, it's almost the norm, if you will, isn't it, to have almost like some ups and downs as a teen?
Absolutely.
So-
Developmentally, yeah. So,
Yeah.
there's ups and downs around mental health and emotional kind of issues, but also being a teen is kind of a time when you're experimenting and trying things too. So it's also a time when you're pretty much
Open to trying,
using drugs and alcohol, certainly.
Boy, well, as a parent of a few young children, it pretty scary world we live in when you start
Right.
thinking about these
Right.
things, and you think about how quickly it can go downhill and how quickly, if there's no intervention like your program. We are talking with Dan Melle. He's the Director of Quality Assurance for Community Healthlink, which is a part of the UMass Memorial Health System.
Yes.
About the Motivating Youth Recovery Program. So, Sean, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just had a question. Is this a voluntary program, or is it at a point in these youth lives where they realize that they need help and they want to get help, or is it something that's ordered? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can. Actually, we have kids that are both voluntary and involuntary, and sometimes when you talk about services for kids, them voluntarily coming into service, they're usually often for the first time being pushed by someone else to come into care or come in to get services. We serve kids that come in on what's called a Section 35.
Okay.
Section 35 would be an involuntary commitment to
Is there
treatment.
almost like a CHINS, the so-called?
Section 35 would be someone who, because of their substance use, is a danger to themselves or others and can be involuntarily placed in a
So would
treatment
that
program.
often be sparked by a parent who thinks their kid's out of control? They're not. Their
yes, could
attempts at
be.
home intervention haven't
Could be.
worked, so they pick up the phone and they say, "I need help."
It could be. Could be.
Okay.
And then the parent would go to court and get a Section 35. There'd be an assessment done, and there'd be a determination to determine whether the substance use was at a point where, involuntary treatment was required. So some kids come in on the Section 35, smaller percentage. Many kids come in voluntarily, but it's usually someone else's idea.
Right.
The first time. We get a number of kids, obviously, that come to us more than one time. It doesn't, substance misuse, substance abuse problems really are difficult, and often there are relapses, and often there are multiple,
Sure.
attempts at treatment.
And it's a good thing that they're able to get it.
It is.
So, can you talk about maybe I guess I'd be looking at the eventual success rate. I mean, how many young people do you feel, and it doesn't have to be an exact number, but
Yeah.
are in general youth that go through the program, even if it's 3 times, it takes 3 times or whatever, do they eventually tend to get into a place where they're not dependent or not able to kind of carry on?
Yeah. Well, I think in general, one point that I'd like to get across is that treatment does work. We take a harm reduction approach to substance abuse, substance misuse, that we see it as a chronic, ongoing issue that folks have to sort of work with. We don't really expect that kids are going to leave the program and be sober, clean and sober for the rest of their lives.
Right.
That there will be times when they struggle again with use. So in terms of percentages, really hard to say.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say because you'd have to look at it over kind of a longer term. And how do you define success?
Yeah.
For us, success is, kids are going to reduce their use or eliminate their use. They will probably have periods of relapse. We see that as part of the whole process.
Yeah.
That they will know how to get help in the future if they need it and know when they need it.
I would imagine if they're able to move forward with their life in a positive direction, they're not in jail, they're not hurting others or harming themselves, and able to kind of get those milestones that are kind of expected of young people as they grow into adulthood. That must be a big a rewarding factor for you to see. Do you get people come back and say, hey,
I was going to ask that, yeah.
We actually, we do. We have kids that come back on a commitment, which is after they've been clean and sober and for a period of time, they can come back and they will speak to groups of kids that are on the unit about their experience and talk about their recovery and
Must
be
be
a
good for
model
them
for
to see,
recovery. It's
yeah.
great. It's part of their recovery, and it's helpful in the recovery of the kids that are on the unit.
So how do folks pay for this, or how is there? I imagine there's some sort of combination of insurance or
Yes.
something. How does that work?
Primarily, the service is paid for through third-party reimbursement insurance. So we are, we're healthcare, so we're paid. Services are paid for by your own individual insurance. If you didn't happen to have insurance, which most kids in the state do, but if you didn't, we have some funding through the Bureau of Substance Abuse Services, which is part of the Department of Public Health, that provides for care.
Would it be fair to say that if you're a young person in need, money should not be the overriding factor? You should seek help in one way or another. You try to provide.
Critically important to make that point. Yes,
Okay.
we would do whatever we can. And if someone was concerned about their kid and wanted to know whether they could obtain services at M.Y.R, they could call our main number at 508-860-1244, and one of our nurses could sort of field a call and sort of guide them through the process, because sometimes it's not the easiest process to
Again, that number was 508-860.
1244.
124. Is there a website they might go to the Community Health Link? Would it might be on the Community Health Link website? Or?
It's on the Community Health Link website, but probably the best way to do it would be to call directly, because we have nurses that are, really expert in helping folks get services. And, if M.Y.R weren't the proper level of care, wasn't the right level of care, we could help them find the kind of help that they need.
Well, certainly when you look at the statistics that are out there about the use of drugs and the delays it causes and the negative impacts in the society and community, it's great that we have programs like yours that are out there serving this population. So again, this is the Motivating Youth Recovery Program, offered by Community Health Link. Very obviously a very sober topic, right? No pun intended. Well, actually, boy, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, good.
But we're gonna have a little fun now. We're gonna play a game with you as well.
Can I make one more point before we play a
please,
game?
Yes, please.
Okay. I did focus a bit on opiate use, but really, more of our kids are admitted to M.Y.R with polysubstance use and abuse than
So is that
just
like, hey, we might smoke some marijuana, but then also
and
have
drink
a
alcohol,
drinking
yes.
and do that.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that's a lot of young people are probably. It's not necessarily one specific, but just I want to escape, or I want to get high, right? However,
right. And we do get a lot of kids that come in where marijuana is their primary, most significant drug that they use, but it is wreaking havoc in their lives. They're having trouble in school. They're having trouble in relationships with their parents.
Yeah.
And their chronic use is really leading to some real significant difficulties for them.
Sure.
So, even the use of marijuana, even though it's not a lethal substance, the kind of way that it's used, it interferes with their lives.
Especially in a developing mind, I would think, right?
There's
Not-
more.
not that it's ever-
Absolutely. There's research that shows that is, in particular around adolescents, using marijuana can affect the way that the
Hate
brain
to say
develops.
it, I think we all know probably someone that maybe smoked a bit too much when they were younger and kind of
Right.
fell off some way mentally, just never quite lived up to their potential. I think
Right.
kind of a sad thought, but
Right.
again, that's why your programs like yours are so important that are out there. You must also see waves of types of right. Do you have like something like maybe like a crank or something kind of maybe moves from the West Coast here or
Well,
from Midwest or whatever. Is there kind of waves of different drugs that kind of like maybe this Molly that's now seems to be pretty popular?
Well, Molly probably was a little, when it was highly recognized and in the news, we might see a few more kids come in that are using that.
Okay.
In terms of meth or those sorts of things, we have not seen a great increase, thankfully, in the use of meth.
Okay.
And the kids that we serve over the last 7 years. Opiates probably have increased steadily.
I imagine that's part and parcel of our society, which has a lot more drug. It seems like there's a lot more drugs out there in general
There are.
than there used to be. I mean, how many times you can't even watch a football game now without seeing drugs, right? And don't get me started, Sean. I think we've had this conversation off air. It's like you do you have a problem with this? You have a problem with
Right.
do your eyes water? You got watery eyes? Then eye clears
Here's
might be.
something for that,
Ask
yeah.
your doctor if it might be right for you, and then they go through the list of symptoms you might get. You're like, take the
Which is
watery
worse,
eyes.
yeah, exactly.
Just take the watery
That's
eyes.
right.
Lesser of two evils.
So, again, thank you for sharing with us about the program. One more time, the number it's 508-860-1244.
That's right. Yep.
See, I was paying attention there.
Good.
All right, so we're gonna play a game with you. You're also able to get a fine mug that has been donated to us by Penta Communications. Sean, do you have the? Do you or I have the?
Let me see.
There you go, right there. Why don't you take over there?
All right. This one's going to be Worcester centric. So are you born and raised Worcester guy or
Not, but I've
new to the area?
I've worked in Worcester for 33 years.
All right. Well, as you know, Worcester's kind of famous for a lot of different inventions. So this game is going to be which of these was not invented in Worcester.
Ooh.
So I've got a couple options here for you. We've got the Valentine's Day card,
Okay.
candlepin bowling, deep fried turkey, or the birth control pill. So again, we've got the Valentine's Day card, candlepin bowling,
Yeah.
deep fried turkey, or the birth control pill.
Oh, I have to eliminate deep fried turkey. I'm sorry.
Wow.
We
Nailed
got a-
it.
we got a
Nailed
winner.
it. Not even any hesitation. He's only been here 33 years, but he's already picked up the local flavor. Dan, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate hearing about the program and wish you the best of luck moving forward with it and with the great work that you do for young
Great.
people in our
Great.
region. So
Thanks
Dan.
for your time.
Nice to meet you.
Good to talk with you.
Dr. Bob, we are going to move into, I think it's time for that reoccurring segment we have with our intrepid correspondent out there.
Great new segment.
Oh, you know what? I'm so we have to send it to you. We will send
Not
you the
that
mug.
one.
We never expect people. Apparently, we never expect people to win the. Well, do we want to take a break and come back to that, or do we want to move to the next segment and come back to this segment when we can get that working or get it?
with Ethan Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can we,
let's
do we have the intro to that?
When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go downtown.
Mr. Pop.
I don't know why you don't take me downtown, like you got anywhere better to be.
Will I see you tonight on a downtown train?
And now it's time for another edition of Downtown with Ethan Brown.
Hello, welcome to Downtown with Ethan Brown. I'm your host on the scene, Ethan Brown. In this segment, we like to highlight companies in the Worcester area. Today I'm with Charles Daly, owner and operator of Shawarma Palace. How you doing?
Good.
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for actually taking the time to speak with us. And then later on, thank you for giving me some free food. So we'll talk about that later on.
Thanks for
So Charles, can you tell me a little about yourself?
I started this business, came to this area actually to help a friend of mine, which I've done that in the past in a few different places. My original job, actually, I was a jeweler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for 12 years I was a manager, a sales, and custom designer.
This is a lot different.
A lot different completely. Retail in the malls, it will get to you sooner or later. I always wanted to do something for myself, for my family, and I decided to start with this small opportunity, which is turning out to be really a good opportunity, and grateful for the customers, you know, for Worcester, downtown Worcester, for the students around Worcester, which has been helping me improve this business day after day.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So what type of food do you guys serve?
It's Mediterranean food, which is it's called shawarma. My main course in this restaurant. The other people knows this food as a gyros.
Okay.
The difference between gyros and shawarma, gyros is most times you find it in outlet malls and stores frozen. In comparison to mine, it's a fresh.
Wow.
And it's cooked while being, you know, waited on and stuff like that. And it's the marination, it's the type of food, the quality of food that it's served, you know, to you, to me, to everybody else in Worcester.
Well, Charles, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. Can you tell, oh yeah, if we want to send people over, you're located at 3 Pleasant Street, right? What are your hours?
Hours are 8 to 5 until November 15. After November 15, it'll be 8 to 8.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Downtown.
That's going to get you where you need to be. Stay with it.
It's a nice segment, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great to highlight local businesses and to get Ethan Brown out there.
Yeah, and it was. I went with him to film it, and it was great. I mean,
Where people were driving by shouting, "Downtown, DT!"
It smelled unbelievable there. He was so passionate about his food. Everything's
Yeah.
fresh. He was, you know, showed us the
Well, there are
marinated chicken and everything.
There
It
are
smelled
some
great.
Great
Oh.
businesses downtown, so it's awesome to spotlight some of them. And if
And we
people
can
like
look
him that make it go, right, that make it work,
Yeah.
passionate about what they're doing, and they have a dream and they're following it. So.
And Ethan
And
will be
that's-
visiting a new one each month, so we
there you go.
listeners and viewers can look forward to that.
I think he's angling for some like free samples at each place, right?
He is. But he did eat lunch at Shawarma that very same day,
So he got
and he
another
said it
customer,
was
yeah.
he had nothing but rave reviews. So everybody, go check out that place, Shawarma.
Well, we're going to move on now. We had this past week a pretty busy week. We, among other things, a couple of us attended the Mass Jobs Summit, which brought together workforce professionals from throughout the state and a number of different leaders, key leaders, to talk about what's going on with the economy and with workforce development. That's put on by the Workforce Solutions Group.
Yep.
And we had a chance to catch up to their director, Suzanne Quinones, after the event, at another event we were at, but we were able to get an interview with that. So we're going to go now to that interview with Suzanne Quinones, the director of the Workforce Solutions Group. Hi, we're here at the Mass BizWorks Conference, conference of the folks that do business services across the state, including those involved with our 33 career centers. And we're talking right now with Suzanne Quinones of the Mass Workforce Professionals Association, the executive director of that organization. Tell us a little bit about the MWPA.
Well, I've been at the MWPA for 20 months now, and bringing me in has been an opportunity for the association to really advance its profile and step up a little bit. They were without an executive director for over a year, but now that I'm here, my top priority is to look at some of the programs we have, enhance some of those programs, and introduce some new programs.
So tell us, who makes up the membership of the MWPA?
Most of the career center directors throughout the state, the one-stop career center directors, are members. We also have fiscal agents that are directors. We have some WIB members that are also also members of our association. We're constantly trying to broaden our appeal, and as a 501c3, we actually have a number of programs, a number of peer-to-peer programs. We have an educational component. So we bring in all the managers, all of the workforce development areas to our peer-to-peers. So we try to be as inclusive as possible to advance workforce development in the state.
So almost a professional development system for those people that work in workforce development themselves. So tell us a little bit about some of the other key priorities or events that you're involved with right now.
Well, yesterday I had the opportunity as a member of the Workforce Solutions Group to work on their 5th annual Jobs and Workforce Summit. The summit was a great example of bringing all of those areas together, all of the partners together. And the program yesterday, we had over 300 people were registered, and we got both of the gubernatorial candidates. Martha Coakley was there, as well as Charlie Baker. We enjoyed hearing from both of them because clearly they understand that workforce development's important to the health of the Commonwealth. But we also heard, I think you were in the audience and you also heard, they're limited to what they know about workforce development. So the MWPA is putting together a briefing paper, which will serve as a policy paper to whomever is the next governor. We also hope to use it for the new leadership in the legislature and for any new legislators.
Which will be interesting because that'll be a document that kind of comes from the ground up, from leaders that are doing the work day to day. Like you said, the candidates, they're obviously very busy on a number of issues, and so may not have expertise in all the nuances of workforce development and the various systems that are out there. So to have the leadership work with you to create a position paper seems to be a good way of giving them background information about what the system is and how. What some key priorities from the staff perspective?
Correct. And one of our big initiatives, since we are at Mass BizWorks, is this year we actually brought together some major businesses, some major corporations and business associations for MWPA Business Advisory Group. That has been an eye-opener because we want to enhance the business engagement that we have, and we've started inviting all of the members to come to a career center. It's been an eye-opener because a number of the individuals who come have no idea what goes on at a career center.
I'm always surprised at the number of folks out there, business leaders, that don't understand the resources that are available through their public system.
Yeah, we recently had Bass Biotech Council leader, executive director Bob Coughlin came out, and we talked to him about all the business services available. And his main question was, how much does this cost? And when we told him it was for free, he said, why doesn't every business know about it and use it? So I think slowly but surely we're getting the word out. We love working with Ken Messina and the state and Mass BizWorks, and we like to think that we're a partner with them, and it's going to be a great success.
So obviously busy on many fronts with the MWPA. Susan Quinones, Executive Director of the Mass Workforce Professionals Association. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
That was taped, I said, a couple days later
Yes.
at the Mass BizWorks conference, which brought together people that do business services for different state agencies, including our very own career centers, as well as the Mass Office of Business Development and several others as well. So that being said, we had a chance to catch up with one of the prime organizers of the event. Bob, let's go to that one. Okay, here at the Mass BizWorks conference with Kevin Lynn, who's the Business Services Manager at FutureWorks in Springfield, Massachusetts, the Career Center out in Springfield, Massachusetts. Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about today's conference.
This is really an opportunity to invest in the people that are serving the businesses across the state of Massachusetts. We come together on an annual basis, kind of hopefully get them excited about some of the things that maybe they're aware of but really don't know the ins and outs. Like, for instance, today we're talking about LinkedIn, we're talking about constant contact, how to use these tools to better outreach and serve our customers.
And I know you'd mentioned, so it brings together various people that do business engagement. Obviously, the career centers are a big part of that, but also some of the other Mass Office of Business Development, the Industrial Accidents and Safety Office. As a takeaway, this is a really good opportunity for professional development and for those staff to learn about the other services that are out there besides their own, right?
And then also too, it's good to know what other people in the same business are doing, because everyone, we're sort of siloed. I don't necessarily know what's going on in Brockton or in Boston, and Boston doesn't know what's going on in Springfield. So we all have unique ways of doing things, so it's a good way to sort of cherry pick what may work, or maybe what we never really thought of doing it a certain way. And this is the way we bring this back and hopefully improve our service levels.
Well, Kevin Lynn, the Director, Manager of Business Services out at the Career Center in Springfield, thanks for taking the time to tell us about today's conference.
Sure.
Lots of good stuff going on.
Yeah, very busy. You know what? Not only do we have the good stuff going on, but now we have some other ways to tell people about it. Why don't you share our Twitter handle?
Yeah, so listeners and viewers can find us on Twitter. They can follow us at CMWIB. They can subscribe to our YouTube channel for The Working Lunch, which is The Working Lunch Radio/TV show. And they can also join our CMWIB LinkedIn group, which is the Central MA Workforce Investment Board.
See that? Many opportunities to get involved. I was trying to think of hashtag workforce. Huh?
Works for me.
I don't even know what that is. Okay, well, we're going to move right now to, we got to rush a little bit to get the full mailbag in this week, but it is a tradition that we do that this month, I should say. So here we go. Let's go to mailbag.
Mail time. Mail time. Mail time. The mail's here.
Every month we dip into the mailbag to pull out one of our listener or viewers' questions, and I should remind folks that they can contact us at workinglunch@wcuw.org. This month we hear from Barbara from the Burncoat area. She says, I feel that I need some direction in my life. I have been recently laid off, and I am looking to see where to take my career and wanted to see what you guys might offer at the Career Center.
Well, Barbara is not alone in that. There are a lot of people that, it's kind of an opportunity to reset, if you will, when you've had a major life change, including being laid off, especially if you've been in the same position for a while or same industry in a while. So it is an opportunity to kind of take a breath and see where you're at and where you're going. So there's a few things that I would suggest they do. There's at the Career Center, they offer the Myers-Briggs.
Personality type.
Personality workshop. They also have another workshop that's called Career Directions. That's very popular. And then there's a new program that we've launched. We've talked about it several times on the Working Lunch, which is the Bounce Work Readiness / Life Coaching program that we brought up from Australia.
So that's now
last year about this time, Maria.
That's
Smith,
right,
as a
Maria.
matter of fact.
So that's now a workshop that's available.
It's
at
now
Workforce
it's a little bit more than a workshop. It's actually a 2-week program.
Okay.
It's a 2-week course that people take. It's 40 hours total, so 20 hours per week over the 2 weeks. And we just ran our first session in that for adult job seekers. As we've discussed in the past, we've offered it a few times to youth groups. So now we've had great success with it there. Now we've brought it to our adult job seekers. So, and I think you had a chance to catch up with some of the participants.
Absolutely, and there was just so much emotion, so much positive feeling in the room, and I got to sit down with a couple of them who had just finished. They had their graduation that day, and we did a couple interviews with them. So,
what would you say to somebody considering to do the Bounce course?
I would say to definitely jump in, feet first, and then put your whole body, dive in, and take this course. It's amazing. It's life-changing. It's hard to put into words exactly what it's all about. You won't regret it. You'll walk out a different, changed person for the positive. Definitely take part. To me, Bounce is about self-awareness. We each are born with certain talents and gifts, in my opinion, but Bounce kind of shows you how to enhance those and use those in an outward way. And there's skills and techniques that you learn in Bounce that you have actually had within you all along. You may not be aware of them, or you may not be using them to their full potential.
What did you think and feel leading up to the first session?
I was scared at first because you're going to meet with 18 other people, but fear is good because it gets you out of your box. So I was scared, but excited for change in my life. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I wanted to get out of it.
And were there definite areas in your life that you identified that you wanted to enhance?
Yeah. Confidence. It's easy to preach other people to do and encourage them, but to actually teach yourself and make yourself do something, that is very, very hard. And after 2 weeks, before even the 2 weeks, just the support of the group gave me confidence in myself. And actually, I have a job interview, so I'm ready for that.
So, Roy and Cheryl, how'd you feel about their facilitation style?
They are very welcoming, and they have wisdom of all walks of life. They're very experienced with all levels that people can go through, because we're all very, very different, and they pick different people so that we can incorporate all of those personalities and strengths and weaknesses. And they brought that out of every single person in that room, and that's what makes the class.
And what would you say to somebody who's thinking about doing the 2-week bounce program?
Get ready for a ride that you never expected. Get ready to be yourself, and don't be afraid to be yourself, because you're going to walk in, they're going to strip you down of all your insecurities and flaws and hesitations, and then they're going to build you right back up, and you're going to face the world a whole new person.
And can you finish the sentence for me? To me, bounce is
An inspiration, encouragement. It gave me a new life, and a life that I like and I want. So bounce is an adventure that everyone should take.
Already the music doesn't stop. What are we? You're rushing me. We have to debrief. All right. We have 1 minute.
Go ahead and
You're going to
debrief.
grant me a 1 minute reprieve here. So, you were there.
See how much passion is involved?
A lot of passion, a lot of excitement in the room. All stemming from a 2-week program. So we do hope to have another session starting soon. And for anyone that would like to get more information about the bounce, they can go to workforcecentralma.org.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yep.
Okay. Or CMWIB.org. They can contact us and we can get more information about that. So it is an amazing program.
And the next session's in the making, so there's not one planned yet, but it's something that we're working on. Okay.
I'm so excited to finally have that up and running and to have those trainers that are doing an amazing job, Roy and Cheryl. If they're listening out there, we appreciate the work that they're doing on the project as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good stuff. And that, I should mention, that was just, a couple people.
Just a couple, yeah.
Out of the many that offered kind of testimonials that, we didn't want to play them all, obviously it'd be kind of redundant, but.
It was interesting, too, because a lot of them said how shy they started out before the program, and then they are on camera, with somebody that they don't know, asking weird questions, and they were just completely fine with it and just had a lot of confidence. So it was just nice to see.
Well, that brings us to the end of another month. We have successfully made it through another working lunch
We're going to have a very special Thanksgiving show next.
Oh, a very special. Maybe we'll deep fry it.
The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the 4th Wednesday of the month.
Maybe we'll have some turducken.
Or a Worcester's famous fried turkey.
Worcester's famous fried turkey. Hobo's famous fried turkey.